back to my point on this Kathleen Kennedy thing. I don't think she's in power anymore. I think that they got rid of all the spinoffs because I'm going to relate this to sports a little bit, so don't get mad at me. But when you have a new general manager that takes over a sports team, usually that general manager wants a clean slate. So any of the ideas or the people that the previous GM had in place, they tend to fire or get rid of all of those ideas so the new GM can come in with a clean slate. So with this, if Kathleen Kennedy is in fact not in power anymore, then all of her projects that were in motion, they needed to wipe them to have a clean slate so that whoever does come in to replace her doesn't have to worry about all of the projects that were already in motion that she set up, because that new person running creative isn't going to want everything she had. And she's already proven to be a person that put a lot of projects in motion that weren't ready, that the fans didn't want and weren't going to be successful. So that's the way I'll look at it. Richie. Anomaly Inc. Hey, Jeremy, just curious. Have you seen Chris Tuckman's spoiler-free Last Jedi review? What's your opinion? He got chastised for critiquing it. I like Chris Tuckman. I don't recall if I've seen his Last Jedi review. But hell, I can't hold people accountable for their first opinions of The Last Jedi. I don't know what his opinion was. When I first saw it, I was fine with it. And then I obviously started thinking about it because, again, I went into this movie determined to like it and not really accepting that I couldn't like it. So once I really started, like I walked out of the theater and I was like, something's wrong. But it's just me. It's just me. It's just me. Cause there's no way I had real problems with this movie. I mean, it's just me. I'm just not grasping everything. Yeah. I was right. So, but it took me a little time to figure that out. So I don't know but again, so I can't hold other people accountable for their initial thoughts on The Last Jedi. Look, it happened with the prequels. You know, a lot of people went into the prequels and just were not acknowledging the problems in those movies. And it took them multiple viewings. You know, people that love Star Wars. Like, I love when people say Jeremy doesn't love Star Wars. Then why was I forcing myself to love The Last Jedi or overlook all the problems? Like, I literally was living in my own echo chamber at that moment when I saw it. You know, and it was a great night we had because we had our Geeks and Gamers community meet up here in Pensacola. We had like 40 people in the theater with us. I got to speak to the theater beforehand. I was kind of on a high. But once I came off that high and started just looking at it, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then the more Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy would attack the fans, it was so bad. So yeah, I can't hold anybody accountable for their initial viewings of any movie. Let's see. Geek Truth 64. I did a video kind of defending TLJ. A week later, I escaped the denial phase and accepted it sucked. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, with me, I'm going to act like I'm going to act with movies. So I go into movies wanting to love them. I really do. I went into Man of Steel determined to love the movie. I was determined to love Man of Steel. And the first few viewings, I was like, yeah, man. First viewing, I knew I was a little disappointed. Second viewing, I was like, okay, I think I like it. Third viewing, I was like, I don't like this movie. It was a wave of emotions because I wanted to love it because I love Superman. And I was convinced that it was going to be like the Dark Knight of Superman movies. I know there's a lot of Man of Steel fans out there, and that's cool. I tried to like that movie, and I do still like the first 45 minutes of it. I love the stuff on Krypton. I love the stuff with him growing up and the interactions with his mom and his dad, except for when he lets, Jonathan Kitt die. But the last hour and a half of that movie, I hate it. But it took me some time to figure that out because I'm a fan, because I go into the movies wanting to love them. Yeah, I own a website. Yeah, I run a YouTube channel. I'm not a critic. I'm a guy who wants to watch movies and I want to like them. But when they're crap, they're crap. Sometimes it takes me a little while to watch them. The same thing happens with me with movies that I ultimately love. When I watched Man on Fire for the first time, I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't love it. But that's because I didn't really fully understand what they were trying to tell in the movie. So I always say the first time you watch a movie that's highly anticipated, you're watching the movie for what you want it to be. The second time you watch it, you're watching it for what it's intended to be. And it's not intended to be what you want it to be. You have to watch the movie for what the filmmakers are intending it to be. And at that point, you have to make up your mind. Now, with The Last Jedi, you know, what did Rian Johnson intend to do with the movie? He intended to make a pile of shit. And that's exactly what he did. But with The Last Jedi, that's not just a movie. That's just not like a one-off movie. That is a movie that took place within a universe. And there was a precedent set with these characters. So when people are saying, oh, Star Wars fans just didn't get what they wanted, that's not true. Star Wars fans were expecting a Star Wars movie. We were expecting it to honor the mythology of the previous films. We were expecting it to honor what came before it and try to build for what will come after it. The Last Jedi destroyed what came before it and destroyed anything that can come after it. The Last Jedi is a piece of shit. That is a fact. You can like that piece of shit all you want. Nobody's saying you can't like bad movies. I like bad movies. I'm sure a lot of you like bad movies. Nothing wrong with liking bad movies. What's wrong with it is you ignoring that it's a bad movie. I like Adam Sandler movies. Adam Sandler movies are really bad at times. There's a couple of good ones, but most of them are really bad. And it's okay. I know they're bad movies. I'm okay with this. So that's one thing that people just, they can't understand. Like they think because their opinion is this, that has to be everyone's. That's why I always talk about The Force Awakens. I don't even talk about my opinion of The Force Awakens. I just talk about how The Force Awakens was received. Now is much different than what it was, but you can't argue with the response at the time. It was widely received well. It just was. Now in time, it's not received well. And a lot of people that complained, that small fraction of people that complained about The Force Awakens are justified as hell. They saw it before a lot of us did. And I can acknowledge that. I was the one arguing for The Force Awakens when that 10% of Star Wars fans were arguing against it. I was standing up against them. Now, look who was proven right. It wasn't me. It was that 10% of the Star Wars fans that didn't like it from the start, and they faced an uphill battle because there was a lot of people that loved that movie. And now here we are after The Last Jedi, and all those people that criticized The Force Awakens are justified. They're 100% right. 100%. Now, is that Rian Johnson's fault? Is that J.J. Abrams' fault? I don't know. I think it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault. That's what I would say. So anyway, let me get back to Man on Fire. I watched Man on Fire, and I was expecting it to be full Denzel just being a badass. Now, that happened, but it took like half the movie to get there. But the first half of the movie, we were watching a broken man that was questioning all of his decisions that came before him. And he wasn't himself. He was very depressed. I wasn't expecting to see that. Halfway through the movie, something happens. I'm not going to give spoilers. I know the fucking movie's like 20 years old probably, but halfway through the movie, something happens that really re-energizes his will to live and his existence, and then we get full badass Denzel. But I didn't like the first half of the movie. Second time I watched it, I understood what he was going through, what the character of John Creasy was going through. So then I fully appreciated it. And Man on Fire is one of my favorite movies of all time now. I love Man on Fire. Love that movie so much. So, okay. Let me see. Bagel Goose, Cecil would beat you in Cario Mart. Nobody has done Cario Mart yet except for Bagel Goose. Bagel Goose is the first person that's done Cario Mart. That's fantastic. So, let's see. Brighton Cherrier, 14 years ago, not 20. Jeremy, 14. Good one, Bagel Goose / Cecil. Mega Jetty 1, plans for Idris Elba Bond. On one hand, SJW is trying to ruin another franchise. On the other hand, Idris Elba is a good actor, good or bad. So this is the first time I've talked about this Idris Elba as Bond. I want to preface what I'm going to say. So I'm not a big Bond fan. So my opinion is kind of irrelevant in respect to the franchise because I'm not a big Bond fan. So I don't really have a vested interest in this one way or the other. With that said, my opinion is that Idris Elba is a fantastic choice for James Bond. Based on my little knowledge, I've seen a few Bond movies, and I just think Idris Elba is a great actor, and I think that he'll nail it. I think it'll be great. So, but that's just my opinion. And again, if if I don't know what I'm talking about, if Bond fans want to rip me apart for that, I totally understand. I totally do. I'm not going to get mad at you for that. All right. Where we at? Basil, Man of Steel was a 5-year-old kid trying to be Nolan. Basil, we're back on the same page. All of our differences are behind us right now. We're on the same page, Basil. So, Reed Palantia, going by the comments by Ryan Johnson, he wanted to do his own movie and was just so petty against Mark Hamill. The last is more than anything that upset me. Yeah, look, Ryan Johnson never intended to make a Star Wars movie that benefited the universe. He just didn't. Let's see, nitrium oxide. Jeff's going to be mad at you for that. Look, if you guys haven't figured it out, Jeff and I disagree on a lot. And that's why we're brothers, because we respect each other. So Jeff and I disagree on a lot. But at the end of the day, nothing's going to come between Jeff and I. We're brothers and we're good. So the fandom menace sticks together even when they disagree. But yes, Ryan Johnson never intended to make a good Star Wars movie. He just didn't. He intended to make a movie that disrupted everything and made people mad. So if you want to look at it, Ryan Johnson accomplished what he set out to do. So from one aspect, you have to appreciate that. Okay? Hey, you set out to ruin this franchise and make a crappy movie and piss people off. You did what you wanted. But on the other hand, fuck him. Because he took the greatest franchise of all time and he decided to put his little man baby hands on it, and he just intentionally screwed it up just because that's the type of person he is. He's a troll director. That's exactly what he is. And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that the guy got away with it. But that's the world we live in. So, so now all we have to do with what happened with Solo, if Kathleen Kennedy is gone, eventually this man will not be doing this trilogy. He just won't. The Rookie Critic, what do you think about the future of movie theaters? Will they die? Will they rise in numbers? Will they adapt and be more inviting? That's a great question. That's a fantastic question. Once upon a time, I really, really enjoyed going to the cinema. I really did. It meant a lot. It was an event. It felt cool. It felt awesome. And I looked forward to going to see the latest movie every weekend. With technology, with all of these dipshit kids that just want to talk and text and do all of this crap in these theaters, like, I don't really like going to movies anymore. I just don't. I can't stand it. It's too much money. It's too much trouble. I would rather sit at home on my, TV, my 4K TV, and my surround sound in the comfort of my own home and not have to worry about some stupid ass little kid on his brand new iPhone that his daddy bought him because he's a little rich little cocksucker and he's never earned anything in his life. And he's sitting there with his little ditzy girlfriend and all they're doing is making out and talking and kicking seats. It pisses me off. It really does. I really can't stand going to the movie theater anymore. And for that reason, it's hurt the experience for a lot of people. Like, if you want to pay money to talk, fucking go somewhere else. Get out of the movie theater. Nobody wants you here. So it's unbelievable to me. It drives me crazy. So the future, though. So let me get to the specifics. It really comes down to this. So one thing I don't understand why theaters don't do this. Why don't theaters give us Bluetooth technology? So like a lot of us have Bluetooth. I have my Bluetooth over there. We have these Bluetooth headphones. Why won't they allow us to Bluetooth the sound to our Bluetooth headphones from the movie theater? That way, I don't have to listen to these idiots talking, smacking, giggling, all of that. Why don't they do that? Like, it seems like that would be a pretty simple thing, right? Bluetooth technology. If you have a Bluetooth into it, and you can just listen to all of the audio in your headphones if you have them. I don't know why they don't do that. That's one thing. They have to work on making the experience better for the consumer, because right now the consumer experience sucks at a movie theater. It sucks, and it's way too expensive. It might be of safety concerns, Jeremy. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I mean, Let's see. Sun Crusher says they do in the theaters here. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that would be a safety concern because they could have it programmed to if something goes wrong, it kills the audio in your headphones if the fire alarm goes off or whatever. Like there's ways they could work around that. So headphones would probably be against fire codes, says Biffy Tannen. I don't know about that. Geek Core says Jeremy got in a soy smackdown by a skater kid. You can ask anybody that knows me. Almost every time I go to a theater, I get into a confrontation with someone, and I've tried to avoid it, but I can't keep my mouth shut when people want to run their mouths. It drives me crazy. And at some point, I'm going to get in some big trouble. Luckily, I'm in very good with the theaters here. But all right, let me see. All right, let me see. I'm trying to read your comments too. So sharing earbuds can give you eat infections. I'm not saying sharing. I'm saying if you have your own headphones, these are the ones that you wear in, the ones you have connected to your phone. Let's see, nitrium oxide. Wow, Jeremy, you have more subs than EVS. It'll come and go. He'll pass me. World Class will pass us both. It comes and goes. So I don't really. We're not in competition by any means. We all want to grow together. So it'll come and go. He'll pass me back. World Class will pass us. It's peaks and valleys. So I'm just happy to be among EVS and World Class. So let's see. You can catch Ligma if you share earbuds. Well, that is a big problem. I mean, I don't know if you guys understand what's going on with Ligma, but it's a really big problem. Ninja caught Ligma. It's very, very sad situation. A lot of people are catching Ligma right now, and it's really scary. Obi-Wan, yes, I'll get to it. My bad. Give me just a minute. But Ligma is a big problem, and it's something we all need to be aware of. And so if you or someone you love has had any contact with anyone with Ligma, please reach out to the proper authorities right now. Call your local doctor. Call your local hospital. Get treatment immediately. This is a big problem, and we all need to rise above it. Rise above Ligma. Hashtag rise above Ligma. So show them the text on your phone. Okay, hang on. All right, so he says show them this show this on your live stream, fucking traitor. But it's gonna show your phone number, man. Here, hang on. Let me take a screenshot. Take a screenshot. Okay. All right, so that's what he's talking about. Will it show it? There's too many lights. Too many lights. Can't show it. Anyway, it's a screenshot of me saying fuck Nintendo because I was mad because I was playing Mario Kart, I believe, and I got hit by too many blue shells and I was very, very upset. So that's what happens. So yeah, and they use that screenshot against me all the time.